years of science and technology have been leading to this moment right here. Today is very exciting for me because I have 9 budget-friendly 18650 flashlights to show you guys to see which one is the best for you. So let's check them out. Starting with the largest but the cheapest, this is the Ditac D1. This is an $8 flashlight, if you can believe it. It's made of aluminum. It has a 2600 milliamp hour battery inside of it, an 18650 of course. It's got a couple of modes. It's USB-C rechargeable. It's 1000 lumens, and this thing actually throws pretty good for $8. I'm excited to see how this holds up and to see if you guys like it or not. This is also sort of basically definitely a copy of a Claris flashlight as well. Next up is the Trustfire T10R, a company I had never heard of actually before this, and I'm surprised I haven't, because this thing's pretty sweet. This is an $18 flashlight from AliExpress. Can't get it anywhere else that I can find. I'm sure they have their own website. It is 1800 lumens. It's got an SST40 emitter, very good emitter, and kind of tactical. It's got a momentary switch on the back, and it's got a good broad light but a decent amount of throw. It's USB-C rechargeable, so I'll be rooting for the T10R a little bit, but we'll see how it does. Next we have a classic, the Convoy S8. So the tacticaled up, Gucci'd up version of kind of an S2 or an S6. And this thing is fantastic. I've had this one for a while. I've done a full video on it. It's a great flashlight. It has about 1800 lumens with the emitter I have in it, which is an SST40 as well. And it is running a F38, 3800 milliamp hour 18650 that I put in this guy. Altogether, $22 from Convoy. Amazing. Takes a little while to get here, but Convoy is definitely awesome. So another one that I'm excited to test alongside all the other ones. We'll also be testing a Convoy S2. This is new to me. It has just a slightly less deep reflector on the front than the S8. This one, however, I put in the OSRAM white emitter. There's a whole bunch of numbers and letters behind that. I'll put it up here if I remember. But this thing, I made a throwing monster, and it definitely is. So only about 1000 lumens out of it. It's got an EVE 3500 milliamp hour battery in it. That was the cheapest one. I wanted to make this super cheap, and it was slightly cheaper than the S8 at $18. I think it was $18.50 actually, but also excited to see how the S2 holds up to these tests. Next up is the Pioocan S10Pro. This one boasts the most lumen claim out of all of them. It says it has 2500 lumens coming out of an 18650 battery in a pretty decently compact size. It's a side switch only, got a magnetic tail on it, pocket clip, which was originally black, but I stole the black one and put it on my Convoy S8 because it looked way better. I don't know what the emitter is that they're using in this, but it does throw out a decent amount of light, and I am interested to see how it holds up. Next we have the Ultrafire UF-40. So a kind of neat looking light. It is interesting because you can actually segment this and put an 18350 in it, but I bought the one that comes with an 18650, and it is a side switch only, non-magnetic tail switch. It's not a tail switch, it's just a tail, I guess. But that's kind of a bummer. I wish they just put a magnet on there, because might as well, if you don't have a button there, you might as well put something. Got your deep carry pocket clip on it. I think this is a steel bezel. I don't know if it's aluminum or steel yet. We're going to find out when we drop it. But USB-C rechargeable, and we're going to see how this guy holds up. It was cheap. This one was also, I think $18. Yeah, I believe this one was $18 as well, so we'll see how it fares. Next we have the Aplos E10 with a whopping 1300 lumens out of this one. USB-C rechargeable again. I think this thing looks pretty rad, and I love that crown bezel on it like that. I feel like you could punch a window out with that pretty easy. Side switch only, non-magnetic tail again, But decent look and pretty small and very compact. Obviously an 18650 is running this light as well, and we're going to see how it fares in the tests. Next I have a Sehnlich, no model name at all. I couldn't find it. But this thing is like $10, and that's pretty impressive. So 10 bucks. I originally got this I think for like 18 or 20, but now it's down to $10, so boo for me. But I've had this for a while. I was going to do it in another test. I ended up having an 18650. I thought it was a 14500 flashlight. It didn't advertise very well. But IP68, we've got USB-C recharging, and we're going to see how it holds up with the rest. Finally, we have the Wurkkos WK03. This is kind of a classic light too for budget-friendly folks. 18650, obviously in there. It has 1800 lumens is what it's claiming. And this one's cool because this is the only 5000K. All the other ones that I mentioned, all are 6000 and above, 6000, 6500. So this has an SST40 emitter in it as well, I believe. And it's a great little light, and we're going to see if it can hold up or be better than the rest. So now let's get into some testing. Years of science and technology have been leading to this moment right here. I have a stick with a clamp on it, and we will be measuring the candela of these lights. It's exactly 1 meter from this lux meter that will be placed on the ground, which should give us a very rough but pretty accurate measurement of the candela of each of these lights. Alright, I have 9 flashlights to do, so I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet for each one of them. We're going to start out with the Ditac D1. This is on its low mode. I can start to see those 80 meter trees back there. I can really see the 80 meter trees. Oh my gosh, that's only on medium. Oh, I turned it off. Oh, no, that was the high mode. I'm sorry, this is the high mode. But yeah, I can light up those 80 meter trees no problem. Hi, Kuro. And this thing is freaking awesome. Wow. For what, $8 I paid for it? Amazing. On to the next. Okay, on to the Trustfire TR10. I'm going to turn it on with the rear switch. That's low for me. That's like a medium, high, and that's super high. And my goodness, this puts out a lot of light. This thing is awesome. I am very impressed. I mean, I can see those 80 meter trees no problem. Not sure if the camera's picking it up, but throws out a ton of light. You can see Kuro down there no problem. Both sides of the house. Man, that's awesome for the Trustfire. Moving on. All right, the first of the two convoys, we've got the Convoy S8. There it is on low. There's like a medium. There's 4 modes here. High and turbo, and holy cow, the candela on this thing is really good. It throws, and I can light up those trees like daylight over there, so that's freaking awesome. And an okay amount of spill, not as much as the Trustfire. But let's move on to the Convoy S2. Now the Convoy S2, turn it on. We got the low mode. I can already start to see those trees over there. The candela on this thing is nuts with that Osram emitter. There is the second low, we'll call that normal low, the first one moonlight, high and turbo, and yeah, dude, this thing has a spot on it. It's like a laser beam, but still a little bit of spill to where I'm catching the side of the house. You can see the sides of the beam there, but this thing is a laser beam, man. Definitely really good target identification with this one. All right, now onto the Pioocan S10Pro. These are the smaller lights. So turning the Pioocan on, whoa, there we go. I think that's everything from the Pioocan right there. Yeah, there's the low mode, medium, high. That's quite a lot of light. It throws out a good amount. I can see those trees pretty good. And even the 80 meter trees, the 60 meter for sure, 80 meter, I can definitely see. And it's a good amount of light, a big spot on that one. So that is the Pioocan. Moving on to the Ultrafire UF-40. Let's turn that on. I have it on low, and I believe, yep, I can scroll through here. That's medium, that's high. I think that's everything. Nope, that is everything from it. So yeah, double click even just a little bit more on that turbo mode there for the Ultrafire. And again, a lot of light coming out of this. Definitely more EDCable with the amount of spill. You can see it's a much wider beam, especially than that like the Convoy S2 or the S8. Turn it off here. But yeah, we'll move on to the next light. All right, now the Aplos E10. Here it is on low. Scroll through the modes here. Oh, there's the high. That's a lot of light. That is, oh, a double tap gets you the phaser, so I gotta scroll all the way up if I want the light. It's a ton of light. It lights up the whole area of my driveway, no problem. Interesting color temperature. Maybe a little more towards the 5,000 range, but definitely has a good amount of light. There's no like defined circle on this one. It just kind of spills it out everywhere, which I like, which would be really good for like walks at night or something like that. But that is the Aplos, and we're going to be moving on. All right, now the Sehnlich. Let's turn that guy on. I think that is everything out of the Sehnlich right there. Yep, it steps down from its high mode, and then it'll go back to the high mode. And that's pretty good for this little guy. I'm pretty impressed. This was on sale for like $10 at one point. It's got your cool little elephant that lights up on it. This thing throws out a good amount of light. It does have some nasty rings on it. It's hard to see probably, but you see that ring on the outside? That's a nasty ring, but it does light those trees up really good, and it gives out quite a lot of light, and it has that like step turn off like that. On to the last one. All right, now the Wurkkos WK03. That is the lowest mode it has. Moving up in the steps. Oh, that was your highest. Definitely a warm color temperature. Super good CRI with this one. Yeah, everything looks warmer. I can see those trees. It's not, you know, quite as easy as some of the other ones, but I wouldn't say it's the worst. Hard to tell. But it definitely lights up the whole driveway, and it is much warmer than the rest of the lights that I'm using. All right, we're back at the shed, and I'm gonna do a speed run here, back again with the Ditac. And oop, I gotta scroll through the modes here. That was the high right there. And boy, it does have a lot of rings, but for $8, I really hope this thing survives. It does throw out a really good amount of light and has a really great spot. Back with the Trustfire, and we're gonna scroll up through the modes here. Man, that thing just throws out a ton of light. I am also incredibly impressed with this light for the price. Super awesome. An Ally Express win for sure. A great find with these guys. My first Trustfire ever. Never heard of these guys before, and I'm excited to see what else they can give if this is their kind of lowest end. All right, the Convoy S8. Scroll through the modes here. And that should be our highest mode right there. Ton of light, really good spot. With that SFT 40 emitter is great in this thing. And, you know, some spill, not a lot. It is definitely more of a thrower, but has a bigger spot than the S2. Tons of light, though. Speaking of the S2, here it is. Oh, I believe that was the high. We'll preview for you. Medium, high, turbo. Just a super focused laser beam of a spot, and not a lot of spill. As you can see, I'm very pointed, but this might be, halfway decent for like a weapon light, honestly. It has a really good spot, and you can really reach out and see what you want to touch with that rifle. All right, we've got the Pioocan. There's the low mode, medium. Well, it scrolls through the modes so fast, but tons of light out of that high mode. You're getting, this whole shed is lit up. And yeah, the whole doorway is, even outside of the shed is lit up, which is really cool. So a lot of light coming out of this Pioocan. Next is the Ultrafire. I believe that's everything out of it. Yeah. Well, sorry, got to scroll through the modes. I can double tap. That's going to give me turbo. Still a ton of light. This one's kind of funky, but it's still putting out a good amount of light, and it is lighting outside the doorway a little bit. Has a more defined circle, but yeah, there's the Ultrafire. Onto the Aplos. Holy cow, there you go. There is the Aplos. Scroll through these modes real quick. It does give you quite a bit of light, and I'm lighting outside the door here. It's such a big spot, if you want to call it, in the middle. The hotspot is massive, so it gives you a lot of light to light up areas much like this, where you want to light up a shed, or you're looking at a big area like you're on a walking path or something. Back to the Sehnlich. So it goes low and then back to high. There's the high. Again, pretty impressed with this little guy. If you could pick this one up for $10, I would be hard-pressed not to if you're a flashlight person, or if you're just looking for something cheap. But this thing's pretty cool. It's definitely a very different and unique light, I would say. And finally, the Wurkkos, the warm light of the bunch. And that's everything it has right there. That's a double tap for the turbo. So it gives you a good amount of light with this Wurkkos. I'm impressed with it, and it's got that warm color temperature. There are a couple options, a cooler temperature and a warmer one. And I want the warmer one because, a lot of the lights in this lineup don't have the warm color temp, and I like it. All right, now it's time for the water test. I have all the lights on low, and we're going to dunk them in here. It's about a foot of water in a 5-gallon bucket, and we're going to put them in there for 30 minutes. Keep in mind, they are all IP68 rated, so they should be fine, except the Ditac. So we'll see if the Ditac survives. I really hope it does, considering it's only $8, but we'll see. I don't know. All right, let's put them all in. Here we go. Okay, timer just went off. Let's get these lights out of there. Turn this off. Take a couple out at a time. Alright, those are all working. Last 5. The Ditac still on. All of them are still on, so let's make sure there's no water intrusion and move on to the drop test. Okay, after the water test, we did have 3 failures to charge. So the Pioocan is not charging anymore. The Ultrafire is also not charging and had water inside of its barrel. And the Ditac is not charging. They all still work just fine, and they will all charge if you take the batteries out and put them on the charger like I charged it before. So you can still charge the lights, they're still fully functioning. The USB-C charging just does not work anymore on them. And I'm going to test that again in a few days just to see if maybe they need to dry out. I have the things open so they can dry out, but there was no water near the Ditac, so I don't know really what happened or why it's not charging. Not really sure, but maybe it got into somewhere that I couldn't see. So we're going to move on to the drop testing and see what happens there. Okay, time for the drop test. We're going to go biggest to smallest. All of them will be dropped from waist height, on its head, on its side, and head height on its head and on its side. And I'm going to turn all of these lights on low, or at least on. So here we go. Ditac survives. Trustfire T10R. Trustfire survives. I will be skipping the Convoy S8 as I have done all of these tests already in another video, and it survives every drop test, even off the roof. On to the Convoy S2. Oh. Uh-oh. Whoa. Convoy S2 is back up and running. Pioocan S10Pro. It's not a great sign. On. That was a solid one. That doesn't look like that's all of its output there. Ultrafire UF-40. Waist height. I have to admit, I didn't have a lot of faith in that. That pocket clip is toast. But still works. The Aplos E10. Better one. And she's still running. Doesn't look like much damage either. Sehnlich on its head. I did it. It's happened. Very nice. And finally, the Wurkkos WK03. Alright, survived. Okay, so full damage report. Everything still turns on. With the Convoy S2, I had to go in and you can take the front part off. Convoy's great because you can swap emitters, swap tail switches and stuff. I had to just tighten up the front, I don't know what you want to call it, the screw that tightens on the emitter plate and all that. It just came a little bit loose, and that's why it was going a little sporadic. So I tightened that up, and it works fine. But the old Pioocan here, a couple revealing things. Number one, take a look at the front of this battery, if you can see that. That is not great. So that is super dented in. And now it will only go into these three little weak modes, and it won't go to the full high mode. Also, in the front here, if you can see, I can get it to focus, a lot of water came up during this drop test. So Pioocan let in some water. I also add that it is still not charging. So it won't charge. The battery is dented, and it has water inside the lens. Not looking great for the Pioocan. I'm still going to throw it off my roof to see if it survives that, and it'll still go in those weak modes. And it does, however, work with a different battery, so you could swap in another 18650 and it would work totally fine. It went into all its full brightness modes. But let's see if all these other lights will survive off the roof. Everything else works fine. We're going to toss them off. All right, from the roof, the Wurkkos WK03. Woo. Sehnlich. The Aplos. Ultrafire. Pioocan. Convoy S2. Trustfire. Finally, the Ditac. Well, I'm very happy to report that every single one of those lights survived. Can't lie, I'm kind of shocked, especially with like the Ditac for $8 and it survived off the roof. That's incredible. But let's get into some awards for these lights, and I'll give you my take on what I think is the best. Well, if you're looking for a budget tactical 18650 flashlight, I would go with one of these three. So we've got the Trustfire T10R, we have Convoy S2 and Convoy S8. My personal favorite, the Convoy S8. Only thing I would say the T10R has that's better than the S8 is the momentary. But with Convoy, what's nice is you can just switch out that tail switch, and it's very, adaptable. You can modify it to what your needs are. So that's what I'm going to do with this one, and this one is going to be one of my backup duty lights. I liked it so much. I brought it to the range yesterday, day before, and this thing does great as a little backup light. We did some low light shooting. The S2 I think is awesome. Obviously I put it in a super throw emitter. You don't have to do that, but with this throw emitter I am actually going to put it on my fire helmet because I need a new light on there, and I just have a little strap that fits a multitude of different lights. So that's where this is going to go because I think it'll cut smoke really well. And then yeah, the T10R, I was really surprised. Trustfire is awesome. I'm excited to test some more Trustfire lights, but this thing is great. So these three are kind of my top three because I'm a tactical guy, not super high speed, but police and fire stuff, these would work awesome. But as far as EDC, my personal picks would be these two, the Aplos E10 and the Wurkkos WK03. This is the smallest of the bunch. It has a really good spill to it, a great color temperature. The Aplos I thought looks super rad, and I still do. It held up really well on the tests. There's no braking, no water entrance in this one. It still charges. We did have some charging failures on the other ones, but I am super happy with these two, and I think either of these would be a great EDC. Even a backup light, you could use these for sure. So definitely check these two out. But finally, I want to go into the winner of the budget category. If you haven't guessed it, it's the Ditac. I cannot believe this thing survived. Yes, the charging broke on it. I don't really care. You can take the battery out and charge it anyways. I would put a new battery in it. I'm probably going to put a better 18650 in here. That's going to get me a little more throw, a little more light out of it anyways. But this thing took a beating, man, and it still works. No cracked glass, nothing. Yes, it is the biggest, but if you're on a budget, this is $8. For you flashlight nerds, go buy it. It's really cool. It's awesome. Throw it in your truck. Throw it in your car. This thing is perfect for just a throwdown light that you don't care about, but it works well and it's tough. So the Ditac D1 is awesome. They also have a D2, which one I want to get my hands on and test as well. But I am super impressed with this. $8. It's still $8. All the flashlights I showed today, there will be links down below. I will put either Amazon or AliExpress or both if they're on either, so you guys have options. And if you use those links, that really helps me out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a ton of fun making this one. I love head-to-head stuff. I love putting a bunch of lights together. If you want to see more, tell me what you want to do next. Do you want to see 21700 lights? Maybe the new flat flashlights, budget versions of those? Just let me know, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button for me, and we'll see you again.